Good evening, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita, and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru, India. This session will run over the next 60 minutes, including Q&A. I would now like to welcome Vivek, our speaker for today's session. He works at Microsoft as a senior cloud advocate. But before we start the session, I would request you all to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. But for now, I will hand over to Vivek to begin the session. Over to you, Vivek.
Hey, thanks, Rashmita. Just okay. So I'm just sharing my screen. Thank you, Rashmita, for the introduction, and welcome all for the Azure AI series. And this is part of my show, which I usually run on every Fridays, but it's Azure Happy Hours. Uh, Last Friday, due to unforeseen, we could not run this particular session, so we moved this session to Wednesday. So this is part of the AI series. This is the first session of the AI series. So the way we have designed this series is basically first week we are going to learn about AI concepts and tools and how to get started with Azure AI, and then the week two, that is we are already in week two, but today's session is week one. But week two is that is next this Friday. We are going to learn about computer vision. It's more from understanding the pre-built, pre-trained models, how to use it from an image perspective. It's a deep dive session on computer vision, and then in the week three, we're going to learn about speech and languages. And fourth week, we will learn about search, how to build search using cognitive services. Right, it's cognitive search basically. So it's a deep dive sessions, not just deep dive sessions from a week basis. So it is the learning path for you to get the AI fundamental certification. It's not the session to get a certification. It is basically a couple of things you need to know and couple of things you need to understand before you go and prepare for your AI fundamentals, and then get that certification. Before I deep dive into the session, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Vivek. Um, I started my career at IBM in 2006 as a software developer. Worked in various programming languages, basically the Python, the Javas, and the Perl. And then developed an interest in DevOps. So I was into DevOps solution architecting at HCL in an enterprise, and then moved to a startup from a head of DevOps perspective. So building the whole DevOps for one of the startup, and I had my own startup as well. I was part of it, where we built AI based product. And I was in DigitalOcean as senior developer advocate, and then part of Microsoft's strategy and investment team, and then back to full-time engineering and cloud and AI engineering team at Microsoft. So that's my background. I love to travel as well, and hopefully it will all open soon. And these are my digital coordinates, and you can connect with me any of these links which has been provided here. Okay, so as I just said, this is week one. This is the first session. So, a couple of things we need to understand from today's agenda. We need to understand what is an AI is, and most of us know what is an AI is. And we will see some of the key elements of AI. And yes, we'll understand what is a responsible AI is. So that's pretty important while you build solutions on AI. And then we'll deep dive into Azure AI. We'll understand different components of Azure AI, what it provides, and how it provides, and other things. And we will obviously go deep dive into each of these in next few sessions, which we have, which is the week 2, 3, and 4, right? So and then we will do a demo of the data scientist in a box, so which is basically the Azure Machine Learning service which is there. And then a couple of resources. The reason why I highlight that in yellow is because the resources which I'm going to share is pretty interesting to get start your AI and ML journey. So basically these two are the most important part of today's discussion. So please make sure you uh, take these QR codes or the links, whichever is provided in the session, and go and deep dive into these amazing topics which I'm going to share today. So let's start with what is AI, right? So AI is nothing but giving a human touch to your application, right? So basically, creating a human behavior and capabilities into your app, bringing that capabilities into your app. So the use cases can be broad, right? It can be used in healthcare, it can be used in entertainment, it can be used in in education. So basically it can be used in various places. So ultimately what we are doing is how you're making sure that your app has intelligence like human, and behaves like a human, while identifying certain things or while predicting certain things, or even detecting a couple of things and notifying it. So these are the things which AI can do. And ultimately that's the um, definition of it. So imitating human behavior and capabilities. But it has couple of elements, right? So what are those key elements of AI? So one is machine learning. So basically this is the foundation of AI. So what it is nothing but is making basically you are teaching the machine to make predictions, and to provide some kind of conclusion from the data it has. So ultimately data is the foundation. So with the data, you're basically applying that data and making sure that your machine is learning something, and it is able to make predictions and bring out conclusions using that data. So that is machine learning. That's what machine learning is. We're going to deep dive, and we're going to discuss a couple of things with respect to machine learning in this particular session. But just hold on for it. And next is anomaly detection. So what is anomaly detection? Say for example you are driving a car, and you find unusual sound coming from your car. So what is that? So basically you, as a human, you will identify that there is something wrong with your car. So there is a some kind of noise is coming from your car, which is not normal. And as a human you are able to detect that. And how is it to apply that capability to your car itself, right? So basically if that capability is available within your car, and it provides that information to you, where the sound is coming, and what we can do from a fix and other things. That's what AI is all about, right? So that's one of the key elements which you can take away from the AI, right? So it's basically detecting something unusual and fluctuations which is happening in within your system, and it is reporting back the issues, right? So that is one thing. So then there is computer vision, right? So what does that mean? So basically there are images, there are videos, there are various things. Say for example, there is the image of a car, and you take an image of car, and it can detect this is a car, this is a bus, this is a bicycle, and also classify them as different vehicles, right? So basically it can classify after taking a snapshot of something and say, okay, this is the car, this is the bicycle, this is what the bus is. And also you can also segment, basically it is segmenting through adding colors to it, and it can segment it and also capture some of the information from the face recognition as well, right? So from a face perspective, you can also capture a lot of things. So basically these are the couple of things which is there, and from a computer vision perspective. And and natural language processing, the capabilities for making sure that there is understanding of a language, understanding of a speech to, basically speech to text to speech, and synthesizing. So basically converging particular language, particular language into a different language, and also output it as audio is also is one of the way of creating this natural language processing as well. So this is one more key element. We're going to see what are those services available, what you can do with it from Azure AI perspective. But one more key element is conversational AI, which is to make sure that basically you can build a conversation which is a bot service kind of a thing, where there is a human interacting with a AI agent, and basically making decisions and asking questions, and making sure that the human is getting that interface to get the right set of information. And the other side, there is no human. It's basically somebody which has been trained, and the agent is replying. The AI agent is replying to the human. So that is what the conversational AI is. And so basically, what is machine learning? The most important thing, as I told you, the foundation for AI system is machine learning. And the science, basically it's a science of training machines to analyze and learn data the way human do. So this is the definition. Okay, this is just a set of English words there. But if I have to explain this to you, um, I have a daughter who's a toddler, and she's learning a lot of things, right? So basically the way she learns things, right? So from a understanding of vegetables, understanding of the fruits and the colors and other things. So if you see, a vegetable is mapped to a label to a specific name, and the colors are mapped to various set of things, right? Well, a mug can be a blue color, a pen can be a blue color, or my mobile phone is black. So basically, whenever we ask her to pick up the blue colors, so she picks up those mug which is there, the pen which is there, and the other things which are in blue colors, right? And whenever we talk about picking up the strawberries, or the the a banana, or any of those fruits, she picks up the right set of fruits and right set of things. So how does a toddler learn this, right? So basically, it's basically training her with every day, with specific things, showing them and other things. So similarly, when you bring that capability to the machine and use different algorithms, these are two different algorithms, right? So if you see, understanding of color itself is a separate algorithm, because a pen, mug, or and bottles and other things can be of blue colors. So it's a different set of algorithm. And identifying a labeled objects, which is one-to-one mapping, which is the fruits, as different set of fruits, and identifying a fruit, and differentiating between vegetable and the fruit and other things. So basically, this is a different type of mapping, right? So basically, this is how the real world machine learning works as well. So the way it works is, the way the human learns things, the same way you bring in the same thing to the machine learning environment, and you will be able to get started with it. So that's I know that's what machine learning is. And a couple of things as an example as well. So if you see this particular slide, so what it does is, there are flowers, there are wild flowers which is out there. So and you train the machine to understand the different set of flowers, so it understands, and when it sees a specific flower, and it can identify this flower is a specific Belize pepperis, right? So that is what this slide is talking about. That is what machine learning is. So basically you're building a model which is nothing but a file which has been trained to recognize a certain type of patterns. So that is what model is all about. So it is recognizing certain set of patterns out of whatever data you have imported, and it applies couple of algorithms to it, and then it creates a model. And when you create a model, you just go and deploy this model as an API, and you consume that API for your applications and other things. And when you just send information to that, people can use it. So that's one of the thing. And let me take this to let me show you this. What is this is, if you want to go deep dive into machine learning, we are going to do a machine learning series in next 1 month, 1.5 months to 2 months, where we're going to learn entire machine learning as a journey to build the similar kind of journey, how we are learning the pre-built models in this specific series. We're going to see building models and see how to build custom models and other things as part of the next series which we are going to drive. So even before that, if you want to learn all of these things, and obviously go into deep dive into these things, this is the link, and this is a QR code, and it's an amazing information available out there from a techniques and process and how exactly it works. So let me show you that before I go into deep dive into rest of the sessions. So basically, if you see, this is what it is. So it is basically, this is the link which I have shared in the in the slide. So basically, if you see, this is obviously machine learning and how does it work and other things, and machine learning related to AI and other things, and what it does and other things are available here. What is machine learning and how does it work? All the information is available here. So very simple. And obviously it is talking about benefits and other things. I don't want to go deep dive into it. So we'll anyways discuss this supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement in next steps. While we learn that, and this is how to how machine learning works. So basically it has data, and you train it. So you use couple of models, you test data sets and train the set, test the set and other things, and you look for a couple of models and couple of algorithms which are best models, best fit and everything. And then you validate it with your final data model, and then you draw conclusions and predictions out of that. So that's what you do. And what it can does is predict values, identify unusual occurrences, that is anomalies, and predict values of course, and find different structures basically, and predict categories. So uh, categorizing various set of things. We will anyways see that in next section as well. So basically this is what it is. So take this link and make sure you spend time there and do stuff. Okay, coming to um, coming to the action for developers again. So this is the different link. So this one is learn AI ML. So let me share this in the chat. So let me share it, and here you go. That is the link, and please take that link and go learn all of these things. And in the next session, I have algorithms. Basically, let's see what is an algorithm. We did talk about models. You have a specific model, create a apply some kind of mathematics and statistics for this, and then create an algorithm and use an algorithm to create a model, and then you go back and use it. That's what a model is all about. But what about learning about models? Like, what are the models which is available out there? So let me show you very interesting link. It has all the things, a couple of techniques, which is supervised and unsupervised and reinforcement. Most of the things, you work on the machine learning is based on these three different techniques. And supervised learning is all about having labeled examples, right? So you have a label already, and you are predicting something out of this label for the next set of outcome, right? So that's a very simple way to explain it. Is you might have a set of data sets, and from a city population perspective, for next 100 years. So it is a set of data which is having, you already have the value that for next 100 years you have city population data, and you want to predict what is it's going to be for next 50 years, what is the population of the city will be. So you have 100 years data, and you are just predicting for next 50 years, which is already labeled. You have already the data, you're just predicting it. So you're building prediction out of already available labels. But in unsupervised learning, you are basically building labels. So what it means is, in this example itself, in this specific link, you can see that what it means is you have customer data, and you are segmenting customers who like same products. So basically, I might be doing a couple of things on Flipkart, and I'm buying, maybe I like stickers, or maybe I like bottles, and maybe the mugs with certain set of things which is there on that. Maybe it is having some kind of flowers or something like that. So I want to buy such kind of mugs, and I am a customer who is buying such kind of mugs. And there might be a lot of other users who like similar kind of things, and who might be liking similar kind of things, right? So basically, you have people who will be interested in buying mugs with flowers, right? It is having a flower picture in it. So basically, you're grouping them. And there is no label of there is, you don't have the data, you don't have the label data, you're creating a label data. So that is what unsupervised learning is. And then there is reinforcement learning. So basically, it is basically learning through outcomes. So basically, what you're doing is, you're going back and learning through outcomes. So this is mainly used in the autonomous cars, right? So basically, you're building something, and it keeps learning what is going on in the system. And then it applies to, for the speed limit, it applies for the brake for pedestrians and various things. So it is basically learning on a daily basis from the outcomes it is getting. So that is what reinforcement learning is. So these are the three techniques which is available in machine learning. And then, there are a couple of algorithms, a bunch of algorithms. We will go through the famous ones in the machine learning series, and we will see how to apply them as well. But for today's discussions, and for understanding, we will understand regression. So it's basically, you're trying to predict something out of already available data from a numerical perspective. Say, for example, you want to see, so bike rental, right? What will be the prediction on terms of renting a bike uh, based on historical data. So you might have a historical data of, say, 500 people are renting bike on Friday, 700 people renting a bike on Saturdays, but only 300 people renting a bike on Mondays. So what is your prediction for next week or next set of month, specifically? And from the historical data you have, and rental number is a numerical number. That's when you are going to use regression algorithm. And then there is classification. Classification is very simple. You either classify something as, you know as 0 or 1. So basically, take an example of your email spamming, right? So you are getting emails, and you will label certain emails as a spam. You will label certain emails as as a genuine emails, right? So this is either it is zero, or either it is one. So you're classifying it into two different buckets, and whenever you're getting, and basically on based on the data which you have, a certain set of emails are spam, and certain set of emails um, are are genuine mails. So basically you're getting email, you're putting it into different buckets. That's what classification is. You're classifying these two things. And let's understand the time series algorithm as well. I'm just talking about three different algorithms here: predicting values, classification, and time series algorithm, because we're going to see this couple of things in Azure Machine Learning service as well. So from a time series algorithm, what it is means is, um, over time it captures a couple of information, and it provides you a value over time. Say for example, I just want to see what's my expense is for next set of years. And what happens is, so you have set of data. So basically this quarter, this is what my expense have been every month on month, and next quarter this is my expense have been every month on month. So if I have that data, and it picks up data from quarter to quarter, and it's on the interval of time picking some data on a regular interval, and then it can predict what will be my expense in quarter 4 or in next year's quarter 1. So basically that's what time series data is, basically on based on the time, basically based on the interval we're going to use this particular model. So all of these are algorithms. All of these things you apply on the data which you have, and once you apply, it has its own set of things. It has its own set of other things like metrics and other things which is there, and there are a bunch of other things as well as part of the regression algorithm itself. There is bunch of things which will get applied, and then once you apply them, you create a model which is trained to recognize certain type of parameters. So once you have that, what you will do is you could just take that model and deploy it into a machine and create a API link for that, and then just use that API to within your application to build an AI driven application. So all it does is interacts with this model, and provides the information back to the app, saying this is what it means. So that is a brief overview of machine learning. So let me go the PowerPoint. This is the link. So machine learning algorithms, if you want to understand what is machine learning algorithms are, so just go and understand this. It's pretty interesting here. So this is a link. So just go to this link and learn in detail. So that's pretty much on machine learning. I have one interesting thing to show, that is algorithm cheat sheet. So basically what you want to do from a machine learning, so what is your use case? What do you want to drive out of the machine learning? If you have that specifically in your mind, and if you want to build a machine learning model, then this is an amazing cheat sheet, right? So if you, for example, for predict values, regressions, there are different kind of regressions, as I told you. So you can use different kind of regressions on different kind of data you want to uh, data set you want to bring out. Or if you have classifying images, there is a different image classifications, and a couple of things we can see here. And we're going to go in depth in couple of these things in when we do the machine learning series. But if you want to learn this stuff, I found it very interesting, and this is also pretty interesting in terms of understanding the whole ecosystem, and understanding of how you can use machine learning in terms of applying AI to your application. So coming to the next part. So basically, one of the thing which I have done is to for all the sessions for this whole week 1, 2, 3, and 4. I have merged it into a one specific uh, series, one learning series. So basically, it's a challenge. So this is a cloud skill challenge, and this is a link to that, and there is a QR code to that as well. So just go to this QR code and add. Let me post this link as well for you in the chat so that you can see this, right? So this is a cloud skill challenge. So it's basically challenging yourself to go and learn all of these things which I have put together from week 1 to week 4. And obviously we are going to deep dive into a couple of these things, and not everything we can cover, because some of these things go up to 2 hours or 3 hours of sessions. So it's better to take up this challenge, take your time, and execute one by one, and learn by yourself as well. And I will be covering a couple of them in these sessions. So given that, what this means is, we'll go and understand the key elements which we discussed in this cloud skill challenge itself. I have included the this one of the unit where it is get started with AI on Azure. The link is there in the cloud skill challenge, and it's basically introduction to AI and understanding of machine learning. We did that. We did understand a couple of things with respect to machine learning, and what we have is, from an Azure AI perspective, there is machine learning service we have, and in that service there are a couple of things which you can do from a capability perspective. We are going to see this from a demo, but it is like automated machine learning. This feature is for basically for non-experts. So you go and you can automate. You have the data, you train the data, and you can just apply automated machine learning, and it applies to it, and it also recognizes what needs to be done on the data as well. So that's something you can do. And there is Azure Machine Learning Designer. So basically, for a no code developer who's a data scientist, is not developing anything, you can just with drag and drop can build a machine learning design. And we will see some of the examples. And there is a compute. So there is a compute for you to build the compute, and obviously consume this compute from a development perspective, and also from the scale perspective, and also from the production perspective. We will see that. And then there is pipelining from a data for data scientists, and for every professional to build end to end training, deployment, and management task on this. So, and as I told you, there is anomaly detection. So here is an example of using the racing car scenario as well. Say for example, the car is consuming telemetry data, and there is a set of information it has, and it is holding that information, and there is a fluctuation in the telemetry data. It is letting the race engineer know about the issue with the car, and he can call the driver to come and fix it. So this is how you can use anomaly detection as well. So this is one of the way. And computer vision is pretty big, and one of the best way to learn computer vision is to understand how this seeing AI app has been built by Microsoft. And it is specifically designed for blind and low vision community. And you can see that it's basically built on AI, and lot of things it has: understanding of recognizing of your friends from currencies, understanding of different currencies when you do when the image is captured, and documents and other things, and even the barcode and other things which it is providing that information. And also different colors, it identifies different colors. This is how even my daughter learns, right? So you have trained her to identify these different colors. The same way, if you apply these things to the machine, it is how it is identifying different things. And look at the usage of this. It is just helping a lot of people from this particular community who has blind and who have low vision. They're they are you able to see, they're able to experience as we experience things. So that's the power of building with AI, and building using these pre-built models as well. So a couple of things which you have from a computer vision service which we have is image classifications and object detection, and we will go deep dive into this in the next session. We're going to do a couple of examples as well, but for understanding purpose, it can classify this image as what it is it a taxi and what it is, and it is you can also build it like a identifying this object like cyclists and cars and bus, and also classifying, segmenting them as well, like this color, specific color is for bus, this for car and other things, and analysis from a what does this image represent, and face detection through face apis and other things, and optical character recognition as well, so capturing the text information from the images as well. So couple of things, computer vision, it's a pre-built, pre-trained models. Custom vision, which means you can train it with a lot of images, adding images, you can train it on your own. And face, basically it's a service which is available for face recognition and other things. And then there is form recognizer, so basically extracting information from the invoices and the forms and the images which you share. It extracts some of the information from that image. So understanding natural language processing, it's pretty straightforward. So it's basically understanding text analysis. You're analyzing the documents and identifying key phrases sort of it, and you're using that information, and also building some evaluation on top of that, whether it is positive or negative and other things. And also translator text, right? Translate text in different languages, and basically I'm speaking in English, I can convert this specific talk in Spanish or in French, or in even in Hindi. And that's how you can drive more conversations as well. And then there is speech recognition as well, so basically identifying who is the speaker is, and also speech to text, text to speech, and various things you can do. And there is a language which is there, which is language understanding intelligent service. You can use this language to build your own capability into the system, build your own capability into your application. So we're going to see that as a complete demo of a couple of all of these things. It will be an interesting and very um, engaging demo in the third week learning, which is on 11th March, right? So that's one of the thing. And understanding conversation AI, it's pretty straightforward as well. It's basically building Q&A maker, so understanding the knowledge base specifically, or applying this specific data, and you're understanding the what the information is being provided back to the service, and this is about service. So let me go back to the PowerPoint, and we will understand um, Azure AI service, right? So basically, what AI apps and agents do is basically it is having a pre-trained models, and you can just use the SDKs, the APIs, and to your application, and use these two services, the bot service or the cognitive service. Or you can build your own custom machine learning models using Azure Machine Learning with the infrastructure and Databricks as part of it, to build your own custom machine learning models and consume it through an API. And also you can use knowledge mining systems using Azure Cognitive Search service. So these are things which are available as part of the Azure AI from a pre-trained perspective. And machine learning on Azure has a couple of things. There is domain specific pre-trained models, the vision, speech, language, web search, decision. These are pre-trained models which are already available. And there is data science tools, which is specifically part of the machine learning series. We are going to spend a lot of time there. And also frameworks from deep learning perspective, which is to use neural networks and other things from a TensorFlow and other things, PyTorch and stuff like that. And we're going to use Azure Machine Learning now as part of the demo, and then we will see infrastructure wise. how the CPU, GPU works, and all of these things coming together as part of the intelligent cloud, which is on the edge, basically, which is nothing but an IoT. So you can have all of these things on the IoT. You can use the pre-trained models, or you can use build your own models and host your models on that specific thing. So yes, a couple of things which are part of this, and there is cognitive services. I don't want to go deep dive into this because this is what we are going to cover in the series: the speech, the vision, language, and web search. All of these things will be covered in the series, and today we are going to anyways cover the Azure machine learning as part of that. So and knowledge base, that's I just want to cover what does it mean when I talk about Azure search. So basically you're ingesting data, you're extracting data, and you're searching it, and you can see this data has been extracted, the documents have been ingested and extracted, and then you can build a search on top of that by creating index and other things. And that is the index which we are talking about. And also you can store them in different data stores, maybe data bricks and other places, and then use the different tools to visualize and to predict and to infuse into your application, or into integrate into your application. So given that, we will go back and see a couple of things. Before we go there, let me go and start with creating a machine learning service, right? So we will see how to do this. So basically there is a module in the cloud skill challenge, which is uh, to where does that go? Yeah, there is a module which is talking about how this whole thing works from Azure Machine Learning Service. So it's a very deep dive session. It provides you with a lot of details, things, and you can see here how to get started. You just go to the Azure portal and search machine learning, and you can see here. And when you click on this, and there is uh, machine learning service which I've already created, but you can also go back and create a new one, uh, and just provide details as usual, give resource group, subscription, and other things, and provide the workspace name, region, storage name, and other things, and just click next, create a private endpoint or public endpoint based on how you want to access this particular machine learning service, and then click next, and you will be able to create a machine learning service. So that's how you create one. So basically what we are trying to do is we have just created a machine learning service, and there is something called as studio. So that is what we are looking at. So we're going to kickstart a studio, and once you create, there is a new studio which is it will be created, and when you click on that link, you'll come to the studio, and this is the studio for Azure machine learning. And basically as I called it, right, it is data science in a box. There's a couple of things which you can do, from creating this creating the compute for it, and creating environments and other things, linked services to link it to the other services, to couple of things, and data stores as well, you can link it to the data stores. And then there is compute, and when you click on this compute, there are four different kinds of compute. The Many simple normal data scientist is going to use the compute server instance. There is compute cluster, and compute cluster is more from creating clusters. Say for example, a compute instance is very simple, so you go and create a compute instance is just a one set of instance with GPU, give a different name to it, and you can see, you can select what kind of store data you are looking at. I have some limitations here, and then once you have this, you select this and go to the next, and then make sure that it is all set, and you just create. So once you create this, it's there. So it's a simple instance, nothing else. The compute cluster is basically it's basically it's a virtual machine, but it is basically scalable ones. So basically you can scale it. So if you go and select anything, and if you go to the next, you can scale minimum number of nodes, maximum number of nodes you can have, and ideal seconds before you scale down what it is and other things. So you provide the information on the scale perspective, the number of nodes and other things which you can enable here. So it's the same. An inference cluster is basically Azure Kubernetes cluster. So you're creating a cluster to run to deploy your models and get the REST endpoint. So why this is such an important thing? Attached compute is nothing but you already have couple of infrastructure which is already there as part of as part of your virtual machine or Databricks cluster and other things. You just need to connect that to this. So Azure Kubernetes Service and other things, while you are doing all these things, you don't have to write the YAML file. It is, you can just create, and with this particular model with the cluster. So that's what inference cluster is all about. So that is from the compute perspective. From the data set perspective, so you have a data set, so you can take a data set and just create a new data set and create one from local or web. So for example, I'm creating it from the web. In one of our example, we have is specifically from the web. So we have created the compute resource. We have selected a couple of things, then we have data set. So it's already here, so I'm just using the same data set. So I'll just go there and go to my data set, provide the information, name for this bike rental 2, tabular. So there are various types. It's a tabulated, it's a CSV file, so that's what we are saying. And when you do the next, so you have a couple of things to provide, right? So there is a set of things where your delimiter, it's a comma, it's a UTF-8, it's only first file has the header, so there is no all files as well. Skip rows, and then you will see the data set here. So it is basically pulling the data set from the web, and you can see the data set here. So once you have the data set, all you need to do is to build the data set, right? So train the data using this data set. So it's basically nothing but a couple of information. So on this day, on this month, year, and then this season, on this working day, this is the weather, this is the temperature, this is the humidity, this is the wind speed. Based on all this information, which is the x, all right, based on this all this information, the function which you're going to call x, which is the x is this one, and the rental is what we want the information on. So this is the target. So basically, based on all this information, this is the rental which we are getting. This data is already available. This is already an information which we already have. So all we need to do is to predict with this particular data for next 5 days what will be the rentals we're going to get. So this is a simple prediction, and this is a numerical prediction. So it's easily given that since it is a numerical prediction, we are going to apply the regression model. So you go and click on next, and you can see it has already selected some type, and instead of don't include path, but all of this is information is available. It is already picking all this information. All you did was to push the data set into this particular schema, right? So and then you click on next, and you see you would have created the data. So schema is very important, understanding the schema, and once it is done, you just create, and you're boom, you're ready to go. So I have backed URL too. So that's been done. So once that's done, all I need to do is go and create a model out of this. So what we need to do is, I have the data set ready. We need to go and train the model. So for training, as you can see, automated machine learning provides three different things, which are all supervised machine learning models. And this is what we discussed as well. From a classification, so either it classifies, categorizes the data. Regression, it predicts the numerical value. And time series, you know that based on a couple of points in time, it predicts the numerical value. So all of these are part of the Azure the automated ML. And we're going to create one ML data, model, uh, train the model basically. So let's go and do it via this. Here is the automated ML. So you go and create a new ML. I already have one, so I'm just showing you an example. So I select this one and say next, and couple of things. Select existing experiment or create new experiment with uh, different name, and uh, the target is always rental, so I want to get the rental information, so target is rental. So and then you provide the compute cluster which you have created, use that cluster, I'm reusing it, and you can see it is making sure that it is selecting the classification, but um, it's basically regression which we are going to do. And then we go to view additional things. There are a couple of metrics, the bunch of metrics, basically there is normalizer root mean square error which we are doing. So it's basically predicts based on the taking the root of the number which we are going to specify, and that's what it predicts. There's bunch of metrics which we can use, and if you can see, there is a lot of metrics. So we will obviously discuss all of these things in a couple of sessions, but the most important thing to understand here is how you can use a simple click of buttons and other things. You're creating certain things. So in allowed models, there are a bunch of things. You are just taking two models, which you can run, but obviously it will also run with rest of the models which is already available. And then there is exit criteria and concurrency and other things which you can obviously add specifically from concurrency, exit criteria. So you just need to add exit criteria. So what could be the exit criteria? So you're just telling when to exit from this particular job, right? So basically you end running training within half an hour. So that is what you're trying to set this up here. And then you're saying that uh, where does that go, where does that go? Okay, and your threshold is this. So this is which means whenever this metric score is reached, just stop the training. So that's what you mean here. So whenever this threshold is reached, you're stopping the training. And whenever there is obviously after 30 half an hour, just stop the training. Whatever is the best score, whatever is the best model available, just show me that best model. So you just save this and you just create next, and all of these things not required, and you create one. So when you do this, it creates a model for you. It's create a sorry training for you, and there is um, training getting created. And once the training is over, you'll get the information. So let us see already available one which is there. um, Sorry, this one is running. So this one has run. So there is available model already. There is already completed training, and once the training is completed, there are a couple of models which is available, and there is explanation as well based on which of those algorithms, which is the metrics which we have got and other things. So you can see different metrics, and if I click on this, you can also see the metrics which is available out there. So you can either say predict rules versus residuals. So when I say predict rules, this is the dotted line. So this has to be very near, the dotted line has to be near to the average predicted true value. Once it is true, then this is obviously is in line with the whole thing. So all of this information is available for you, and explanation as well. If you go and click on the explanation, you can see that um, you know uh, which is the model, which is the parameter which is um, basically influencing the model, the working day. So that is what it is showing. The working day parameter is influencing the model which we just been built. So this is the importance of understanding what exactly the data is all about. There are different data points, and then within data points, this is working day is the one which is influencing uh, the prediction, right? So basically that is what it is. So there are a couple of other things which you can do. Obviously go back and deploy this model to the web service and use the model as it is through an api, and key it provides, you just use it in your python script. And then there is endpoint, which is there, where it will show up the endpoint here. And then designers, I did talk about how you can design a couple of things. So you can use easy to use pre-built components already available for you. If you see here a lot of things which is already a restaurant um, recommendation. So you can, it's already like basically once you get the data set, you can start building it uh, from a training perspective, and add components to it. And you can see here how this specific example from a restaurant perspective, restaurant rating prediction perspective, you can build a chain of things. So that's what Azure Machine Learning Studio is all about. So this is a simple way to understand the AI, and what Azure Machine Learning Studio provides you, and how you can take this to the next level. And obviously the learn modules are pretty interesting, and it covers a bit of a lot of things. So if you go to this explore visual tool, which is part of my Azure skilling, Azure the cloud skill challenge, so you can see all of this thing is covered from a designer, but it takes a lot of hours to complete. Like say for example, it's 3 hours of learning, but it is worth learning because it has set of information to build and evaluate, building pipeline, predictive model, everything on this. So that's what this whole model is all about. And let me go back to my slide. So I just want to say this is the clouds skill challenge, which is there. Just take that and make sure you build it. If you have any questions, do post. As I told you, the next session, which is on Friday, which is going to be on computer vision. So we're going to learn how to build this computer vision. I know there is a question on there's a medical diagnostic model. Yes, there is HealthBot, which you can make use of. Just search for Microsoft HealthBot and see whether you can use something with respect to health as well. So that is available out there. And yeah, any questions, do post. Let me know if you have any questions. I have a little bit of time. So basically, to join the next set of sessions, I would say go back to um my slide. Going back to my slide, my first slide, in fact, this one. So basically this Azure AI series. So just go there, and you have this was just an introduction to AI concepts, understanding of what machine learning is, understanding the different intricacies, while you understand the Azure machine learning service as well, like building yourself and creating adding a data set, and you're training that data set, and then you can deploy that data set to any of the clusters and other things. That's a simple experiment. But in next set of sessions, we will go deep dive into specifically onto computer vision, speech and language, and discovery, cognitive search as well. So any questions from the audience? If not, we can close the session, and we can meet in next 2 days to discuss about computer vision. Just make sure you go through this as well. Okay, there is a question. Is it possible to use? Okay, so there's a question which talks about whether um, possible to use the services without programming language? Yes, couple of services which I showed you. Yes, it's a no code. For example, yes, but you need to understand couple of things from the uh, all of these things, but this is completely no code. So basically you are just drag and drop, and you're having this and deploy this directly onto the endpoint and then use that endpoint. But a little bit of programming language will help, because you're going to use notebooks, and you're going to use code just to interact with this particular service. But apart from that, uh, it's just building that training, and deploying everything is just click of a button. So there is a question, good question. There's are the modules mandatory to learn? It's good to learn, because if you see this module which I have shared as part of the Cloud Skill Challenge, lot of information, lot of good information in understanding perspective, and even this specifically understanding conversation AI, or learning through introduction to AI, and all of this is basically, even if you know all of these things, couple of things I already knew, but when you read through this, it gives you a better understanding, and better understanding of this particular uh, subject. And that is why these learn modules are really cool. And another thing which is very important as part of the discussion is understanding the responsible AI as well. So building six principles. At Microsoft we use six principles, and one of these is fairness. So what it means is, whenever you're building an AI, it should not be biased. Say for example, in this one of the example which is shared here is, while giving a loan, you should not be using, it should not be AI, you should not be using biased kind of a things, to whether to provide loan to a gender bias or something like that, using that kind of a bias and other things from an AI perspective. So it has to be very fair while it has been built, and it has to be reliable and safety. That means the it should provide, while it is providing information on uh, prescription based on the patient's symptoms, it is very important for this has to be tested properly, and everything has to be good, otherwise human life is at risk. And obviously reliable, it has to be reliable, and it has to have privacy and security. While we share a lot of data, it has to be made sure that the AI systems keep this information privately, and make sure it has a security for your data. And it has to be inclusive, make sure that it has to include all people from all set of societies and other places, and it has to be transparent as well. So it means, um, people should know that we are going to use this data, or it is using this kind of data to build onto this. So everybody should know that this is transparently, and this has been built on AI and other things, and how it has been built. And it has to be built within the governments, from an accountability perspective. That has to have a legal standards and other things. So that is something which is all of these things. And to your question, Nikesh, so you need to understand that all of these things, understanding this whole thing, it's available in the learn module. And that is what it means. So go through these learn modules, it will give you a lot of depth in terms of the knowledge. And also the other links which I have shared, right? So basically, the other links from uh, this perspective. So this is also very interesting, because it provides you all the information and all the algorithms. You can understand all the different types of algorithms which is available out there, and this gives you a very good cheat sheet and other things. So that's something which you can obviously share. So we're just over time. It's it's 4 minutes over time basically. So anything, we can obviously, if you have any more questions, you can you know uh, reach out to me on my digital coordinates, and we can have a discussion there. And otherwise we can meet. this is the digital coordinates, and we can meet on Friday to learn about computer vision and understand how exactly the computer vision is set, and how we can use computer vision to build applications and other things. So thank you for joining in, and uh, thank you very much for being patient and listening to me. uh, See you, take care, and we will meet on Friday for a very interesting session as well. Thank you. Take care. Thank you, Rashmita.